All right. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Amber here, and we are going to sit down and watch the Wheel of Time's new teaser trailer for season 3. Now, this dropped very late for me last night. Very, very late. So I'm just now getting to it. I've seen a lot of videos that are out already. Some of these content creators are quick, real quick. Yeah, I'm excited. I have seen it, so let's get into it. First, before we do that, spoilers for The Shadow Rising. I'm going to be talking about some book stuff here. And also, if you would like to boost this video, please like, please subscribe, and that will go ahead and make sure you don't miss out on any other Wheel of Time content as the season moves forward. So now let's get into it. Time. Ooh, more rain. This shot is crazy. Leandrin. Very cool shot. Avendasora. Lots of land fear. Lots of Moraine and land fear. Okay. March 13th. Okay, first thoughts. Lots of Moraine, lots of land fear, and this big overarching question of Moraine saying, the only way that he lives is if I don't. And so I think for book readers, that's like you should see like neon lights flashing. We know what happens in later books, so they could be teasing us here. Maybe that event isn't coming this season, but they're definitely putting that idea in our heads, which it makes sense, I guess. Okay, this scene right here of Ruidan is very nice. The layout of all of the spears in front of them, what looks like to be all Aiel, and then Rand and Moraine, and one woman off to the side, maybe, and like a, I don't know, like draped cloth. This could be a wise one. I would assume it's a wise one. Yeah, the scene of looking out onto Ruidan is very cool. I think as a book reader, this was one of the things that I was really excited to see. Now, the thing that's interesting here is the way that this city looks in general. It's walled off. It's kind of shrouded in fog. You get the idea that it was a futuristic type city just from the way that it looks. So that's cool. I think they kind of hit all the things that I wanted to see with this city. And it is, it's looking very mysterious. This is a huge event for everyone going into the city. This will most likely be Rand and Moraine going in, Rand into the glass columns, Moraine into the arches within the city. They both kind of go on a little bit of a vision quest in there. So yeah, like I feel like this is, for an opening shot, it's a strong choice because this is going to be such a huge moment for Rand and Moraine. And the consequences of this event have huge repercussions. It's very exciting. Looks good. This scene with Moraine, she has sand all over her face, and you can see she's been out in the sun. Her skin's kind of peeling. Her lips are dry. They go in and do a lot of this type of makeup to make someone look like they've been in the sun. But the way that it's shot, her upside down, her hair kind of flowing like she's underwater, definitely makes me think that she has just entered the arches. With her upside down, it's trying to kind of give that feeling like she's lost her footing. There's no equilibrium. You're entering into an almost different realm, if you will. So yeah, like I think this is a big clue too, because every time we get these upside down scenes, it means we've got some of our kind of, more psychedelic moments happening where it's not really the real world, but someone going into a structure that presents a vision. All right, this shot is wild. Personally, I think this might be an Age of Legends scene. This is definitely within the White Tower, but the fact that they are in the tower, if this is the tower, it presents a very specific time frame because the White Tower was only built so long after the Age of Legends. So, I mean, like, I'm not going to get into the Wheel of Time book timeline like that, but what's interesting here is that you can see it's full of people, which is another reason why I think this is in the past, because the White Tower has lost a lot of Aes Sedai due to time and the lack of channelers out there. And then, the other influences, like, who knows, maybe some Black Aja tomfoolery helping to kind of create fewer and fewer numbers as time goes on. But this here is Rand. This definitely looks like Rand to me. And the people that he's with, I don't think this is Lews Therin. We know that the actor playing Lews Therin did his role remotely, so I don't think it's him. But here's another thing that strikes me as kind of odd. The only colors that I am seeing is mostly yellow and gold. Now, it does kind of look like some people have like an almost orange. But altogether, if we go back to this timeline, if this is in the past before like the White Tower was really the White Tower, and these are Aes Sedai of like the first age Aes Sedai, healing was the most important task of that era. So you would see almost all healers. That was the greatest achievement you could do. So maybe that's kind of what they're trying to clue in audience members here with so much yellow and gold, possibly. Now, there's also the possibility this is current day and this is something like an audience with Swan Sanche, perhaps. People coming in, you can see almost a line formed where it's like it looks like they're lined up going into another section of the room. It is it's very linear. So maybe this is like an audience like a meet with the Amerlin and request something, or maybe there is a large event and people are coming together to try and figure out a solution to something. So this could work in the flashback setting, or this could be, modern day, air quotes here, but I'm leaning towards the past. And if this is a organized meeting, I really like this idea that this could be the event and where members of the Aes Sedai of that time come together to try and figure out what to do as, chaos erupts within the continent. And so this could also be something from Rand's flashback within Ruidan, where he goes back in time and he's seeing events further and further back in time as, we go from one huge earth-shattering event to the next. So this is really exciting. It could be either, but I'm leaning towards Age of Legends. Okay, this definitely looks like Tar Valon to me. The question is, what is Moiraine doing there? You can see Lan kind of peeking around the corner. He's got his sword tucked behind his back. And another thing about this shot in general, they're really going with this like solemn mood, right? Moiraine doesn't look thrilled to be like she's back in Tar Valon. This could be her trying to come in and approach Swan Sanche with information that she has, or try and figure out where they stand as people who care deeply about one another. This could be her just being like, oh man, I really don't want to do this, but I have to. And the way that she's styled here with the blue hood up and over her, this really feels like a theme to me. It kind of gives that Catholic religious vibe to it, where she kind of looks like Mary with, the blue hood up. And to me, that kind of symbolizes like sacrifice or something of that nature, just with the styling of Moiraine. And I feel like we will see it many times. But if we are going to talk about the theme of sacrifice, I think this is a huge characteristic and quality for Moiraine. She's given up her life. We saw in season 2, she gave up her relationship with her family, her relationship with Swan Sanche, and to a larger extent, her relationship with Lan, all in the quest of making sure that she can keep Rand safe and out of harm's way so that he can come in and help win the last battle and not join the side of the shadow. And so this is her life's work. This is her mission above all else. And so this way that they've stylized her does kind of feel like a little nod to something like that. But, like, hey, I was forced to go to Catholic school, so maybe it's just something that's like subconsciously burned into my brain. This scene with Yasha as Rand is awesome. He looks great. The costuming looks great. Sharon Gillan hit it out of the park once again. And the way that he's got this, it's almost like a tactical style, like a buckle on his, we'll call it a vest. It's giving Age of Legends. It's reading futuristic to me. So I personally believe that this is Rand in the glass columns, and we know that he's supposed to be playing his ancestors, I believe. So I would assume this is him as his ancestor in the Age of Legends as we're going back further and further in time. He looks great. Showdown with Lan. I'm really curious what this might be, who he's scowling at. There's a lot of options here. One, it could be something like Moraine telling him, hey, I'm going into these glass arches in Ruidan. It's really dangerous. Sorry, but you're just going to have to sit this one out, and he's not happy about it. There's another possibility that perhaps this is Lan locking eyes with someone like Couladin, who, is one of the more villainous characters of this season. Now, that aside, this could also be just a Lan like in the zone as he's getting ready to train Rand or something like that, where he's just got the Lan game face on. But I think there's a lot of options here. It's pretty, it's like such a short snippet and all we can do is really speculate. But yeah, Lan. Yeah, if I had to make a choice, I would say Couladin just said something that Lan is not feeling, not liking. It does give that like Western showdown. Okay. I'm so excited to get to this scene. First off, set design, love it. It's kind of got this like Ottoman Empire thing going on that I really enjoy. The costuming, once again, great. We've got someone in the background here, which I think is one of the Aes Sedai from season 1. And again, we've got people lined up. So if I had to kind of speculate here, we've got multiple factors going into why I'm going to make this choice of ideas, but Leandrin seems pretty dressed up, in my opinion. It looks like she's wearing something to really signify her status as an Aes Sedai. The ring is on full display. The red outfit is on full display. Makeup. She looks very done up. Like official, if that makes sense. Like she's here on official business. And the people in the background are forming a line as well, almost. So this kind of, to me, again, feels like this could be like a type of summons situation. If I had to make some wild speculation, I would say that this could be within the Panarch's palace. Now, it's not done up like a traditional palace like we would think, like European Renaissance era palace. It's a lot of candlesticks. But like, look at how big these arches are going into the hallway. It looks pretty ornate. And the people that she's surrounded by do look incredibly dressed up. So it does look like upper crust, upper class people. I think this could be something like Leandrin meeting Amathera, who, the Panarch of Tanchico and Terabon. Now, this is where Leandrin is from, if this is Terabon and Tanchico. And it could be, a meeting with Amathera or a meeting with one of the Forsaken who is, I guess, currently taken over the Panarch's palace. So I don't know. I love how this looks. For the way it almost looks very like prom dress to me in a way, with this like flowy side veil. She looks great. Ring on full display. Lots of incredible backdrops and costumes and people to look at. Okay. I was dreading getting to this, but alas, we must. Elayne Trakand wearing a ruby rose crown in what looks like to be the White Tower. She is in her novice outfit. This does not bode well for the future of Morghese Trakand, the Queen of Andor. If I had to make some speculation here, I would say it's possibly one of two things. One being Elayne has gone through her accepted test, and this is something that she's presented in one of her visions within the test. She doesn't look happy at all. Like she's got this kind of blank stare, a bit of a frown, like you can see it's like slight dimples in her chin, like she's trying not to cry. Oh, this hurts. This hurts for me. If this is one of her tests within the arches, we know from the books, Elayne, one of her biggest characteristics is bravery. She has a line where she says that growing up, she learned about the history of Andor and all of the queens who have ruled, and it is her duty to face everything that she faces with the courage of one of these incredibly brave rulers of Andor who led charges in battles. And this is something that she really it puts a lot of weight on her shoulders, and this is extremely important to her. And this moment of her putting a crown on top of her head could be a symbolizing her facing bravery in, the face of fear as one of her trials within the arches. In the books, we don't know what she goes through. That said, this could legitimately not have anything to do with her test, her novice test or her accepted test. This could actually be two things that are really in real life happening. This could point us in the direction of perhaps the death of Morghese, which I hate thinking about. I love Morghese as a character. I will be devastated if they take her out like immediately in the season. I would hate that. It would make sense given the time constraint. But there's also the option that Morghese goes missing. And so like she has the crown, so Morghese doesn't die, but she's just presumed dead. Personally, I think this points more to a death than a missing in action situation, because it feels kind of difficult to say, oh, if Morghese had fled, how are you going to say the queen died when there's no body? You know what I'm saying? To me, that feels kind of like a leap. If I were one of the citizens of Camelin and, they ring the bells and they're like, the queen is dead, I'd be like, all right, where's the body? Where's the funeral? Like, why is this so mysterious? So I feel like for her to have the crown, it points more towards a death, because if she was just missing, I'm not sure it would be like, hey, we got to crown you, hurry up. Or it would be more of like hey, she's missing, we need to go find her. So potentially, I think this could be Morghese has died, and perhaps Gawain and Galad have brought the news to Elayne in the tower with the crown. And here she is. I mean, she's crowning herself. This is what a moment for Elayne. This is tragic. Think about it here. Think about it here. If this is the death of Morghese, Elayne is crowning herself. This means that she's alone. This means that there is no one there. There's no ritual. There is no moment of celebration as a new queen. This is her alone crowning herself in what looks like to be just some random room in the White Tower. That's devastating to me. She does not look happy. Hopefully, Morghese is alive and well, and this is just her accepted or her novice test. But I don't know. I really don't know where the show's going to go with this. I think there are multiple options, but I do think that would be a good way to bring in. I mean, that would make sense, right? If Morghese died, then you would have someone like Elaida coming back to the tower with Gawain and Galad and the crown to make sure that Elayne knows what's happening, has the crown, and is, aware of the situation. This is like a huge political event for her to be putting a crown on. And the fact that it just shows her alone, I can't get over this scene. Oh, okay, let's continue. Okay, so this is terrifying. It's Lanfear and someone who it appears to be Leandrin sitting on the Amerlin seat, okay? I had to do a double take of this image because the way that the hair is done, I was like, "Oh my god, is that Cadsuane?" Because it has the, like the little bun, but she's wearing red. Cadsuane would never be caught dead wearing red. And also, why would Cadsuane be talking to Lanfear? I think that's Lanfear. This is more like a Leandrin situation to me. It's really hard to tell though. I've zoomed in, blown it up. It could be Elida, but it looks closer to the actress that plays Leandrin. And yeah, I was getting real hopeful that that was Sheree as Elida. But yeah, I don't know. Man, I am again devastated that there's no Elida in this teaser trailer. But you got to save some surprises for later, right? So Moraine, this would be most likely the female half of the Choden Call. What a beautiful shot this is with her channeling up there and the way that the weaves are just, that looks so good. It looks really good. This is pretty straightforward. Egwene's test for her accepted test. Something very cool here is we have what looks like to be a new Aes Sedai, someone of the White Aja. As someone who very much appreciates logic, it's very nice to get a member of the White Aja. Hopefully she has some speaking lines and it's not just like, oh, I'm here to channel and do the test. I very much want to see more of the Aja members this season. Moraine not looking too hot. Rand in his boots. It is very unfortunate that there is only one image of, well, I guess that's not true. This is like the only close-up that we have of Nynaeve in the entire teaser. Ooh, this is interesting. The motif here, the snakes on the rug, this definitely makes me think that they're obviously in the Aiel waste. This would be something, perhaps they're in Cold Rock's hold or something like that. The Aiel, like there's snakes in the waste. I don't think that this is a hint to snakes and foxes. I mean, it could be, but I only see snakes. What I don't understand is what they're doing, just laying on the ground. If I had to throw out some theories, we know Egwene kind of plays by her own rules. And I could see her doing something slightly reckless, like, hey, Rand, I can go into Tel'aran'rhiod and I can show you how to do it too. Like, this could be some type of sequence where they're laying down, like, okay, are you ready? Let's do this, as they kind of like slip into Tel'aran'rhiod. Rand looks scared. Egwene doesn't look scared, typical for Egwene. But I could see her doing something like this with the absolute gusto of someone who truly believes like this is a place that she can master. And that's just very on point for Egwene. Rand, on the other hand, not so much. He looks terrified. But yeah, I could see it being something like that. I don't know. Definitely in the Aiel waste, though. Moraine falling through time, little sword action, some training montage, which great to see that. Okay. We've got Rand and someone walking in a huge load of Aiel in front of them. If I had to guess, I would say this is Rand and Couladin coming out of the arches, or coming out of the glass columns. Maybe in the show they both go in at the same time and it's like, he has tattoos, I have tattoos. He has a chair, I have a chair, like, so we actually get to see that kind of event and not just, I don't know, like we get to see it as it's happening, them coming out in unison. I don't know though. It looks like a man to me. And also Rand, his jacket looks bloodied. So I don't know. I don't know. This could be really anything, but the way that the Aiel are lined up in the background here makes it feel like this is an important event. So yeah, like him coming out of the glass columns feels like the biggest event possible. I love this scene. It looks like Moraine just said something very Aes Sedai and like authoritative to these two women, which I'm assuming are wise ones. And Rand just looked over and was like, "Yo, like, what? Why'd you say that? What are you saying?" Or they've just shown up and they're like pleading their case for going into Ruidan, and the wise ones are like, "Oh, like, you do realize what will happen, like how dangerous this is. We know in the books, if you go in and you don't come out within 10 days, you never come out." So, like, they could be giving Rand and Moraine this, I guess. Take my headphones off, my ears hurt. This could be Rand and Moraine going in and being like, "Okay, like, we're ready to do this." And then they give them, well, I guess they give Rand the truth of the matter about how dangerous it is. And he's like, "Moraine, are you kidding me? Like, what are we doing? This is ridiculous." Avendasora. This is great. I am so happy to see the tree, one of the last trees. This is so important for the Aiel background, and I guess even, has ties to the Kyrianan history as well. But we know what happens in this tree in the books, and the only thing that's really giving me pause here is that we haven't seen any images of Matt with the Aiel in the Aiel waste. So very curious if that's not going to be a thing. But I'm touched. Like, they didn't have to do the tree. Really, in the grand scheme of things, the tree itself, not that important. But the fact that they did it and the fact that it's here, it feels good. Rand upset. Okay, we've got another one of these images where the camera angles are going all wild, and we've got a bloody sword next to Rand. I believe this is just one of the images that, or one of the scenes, like the montages that play out for Moraine while she's in the arches, because she's saying every turn of events, thousands and thousands of times, all of them Rand dies. And the only one where he lives is the one where I die. So I feel like this could be a montage of different scenarios which leads to Rand's death. And she's wearing the Amerlin, what looks to be the Amerlin's gown here. So this could just be, like wacky, timey-wimey in the glass, in the arches moment. Avienda overlooking what looks to be like, this could be more like settlements, because I don't think they're trees. But I would love, you know what it just made me think of? It made me think of Dune, that the end of Dune Part 1, where it's Chani and on Arrakis, and she has that like little monologue where it's just showing her face and then like her voice behind her. I was like, maybe it's Avienda like standing over her land and being like, "This is the threefold land." And I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, did they Chani Part 2? Did they Chani Part 2 her?" Oh, Lanfear, going after a child. Madam. The outfit is great. I kind of get the idea that in some of these montages, it's not real. Like, this would be wild if Lanfear just woke Moraine up in real life and was like choking her on a bed. But I mean, Lanfear is unhinged, so it's not outside the realm of possibilities here. And why is she choking her out on like every different plane of existence? Okay, that's like blood splattering out of her. That's in Valon. Yeah, so like why does the location keep moving if this is real life? To me, this feels like a scenario within Tel'aran'rhiod, which that would be a great way for Lanfear to just keep taunting Moraine and personally like wearing her down. I'm excited to see more of Lan this season. Oof. Now this is a scene. For one, the CGI looks really good here. And here too, let me back up a second. The fact that we're seeing this scene with Alana and her warders, this makes me believe that this is like episode 1, probably the first sequence within the episode where we know that this I guess what we speculate is this attack from the Black Aja going to happen. And I would have to say that killing off one of Alana's warders in like the first 15 minutes of the season is wild. I mean, that's like as high, those are the highest stakes you could possibly go for that character. Definitely puts her story like up front from the jump. And I think it's pretty fair to say that Yvonne is not going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it out of episode 1. I've seen a lot of speculation that this is one of the bubbles of evil. We've got Rand channeling like beast mode, someone laying on the bed, and then there's this, it almost looks like it's made of mercury, like a humanoid figure. This is probably Rand from within the mirror. So yeah, bubble of evil sounds very nice, very logical in my opinion. Again, the CGI is just, it looks really good. Looks really good. Also, where is Rand that this is happening? Are we guessing that, this is like, where is this? To me, this doesn't feel like it would be in the Aiel Waste. I mean, I don't know if they have like windows in their houses. I don't know. I can only guess here. Maybe, Moraine goes back to Valon and she puts Rand up in a room somewhere. It's very difficult to try and piece out where things are happening here. And I think that's one of the hard things about this season where like it seems much closer to the books. Fork root. It seems much closer to the books, but there are these switches where it's kind of hard to guess what location some characters are going to be in terms of like how the season is put together. This could be in Tar Valon. I mean, I don't know. This could be, okay, hear me out. What if we start at a like neutral location in this season with Rand? What if we end up, I have an idea. Okay. What if we end up in a neutral location? The girls are back at the tower. They've already been sent back. Moraine is with Lan and Rand, possibly Matt and Perrin too. Maybe the boys are together with Moraine. What if this is one of the events that kickstarts everything? So perhaps, hear me out, Bubble of Evil happens. Moraine is like, uh-oh, we need to figure out what we can do. You need protection. You need an army. Or maybe Rand comes to that conclusion himself. And so they make the idea, all right, the Karakarn, we have to go to the Waste. Now, as this is happening, we've got the attack on the White Tower. And so maybe it would make sense through Moraine's eyes and ears. She hears about the attack on the White Tower and she's in contact with Swan Sanche through back channels or whatever. All right. So these two things are happening. Then plot twist number 3 is that Elayne keeps kind of falling into Tel'aran'rhiod on her own. And she's like, well, talking to the wise ones, and they say like, I've got to go there. So maybe Elayne relays that information to Swan Sanche, and Swan Sanche's like, bet, okay, I'm in contact with Moraine. She's getting Rand to the Aiel Waste as we speak, sends her out of the tower to go with Moraine, and sends Elayne and Nynaeve to Tanchico. Like, this could be multiple events all happening at once that is the driving force between everyone dispersing and going on their own separate quests this season. You know what? I'm proud of that idea. I like it. Yeah, this looks like Rand and Couladin. Couladin's got the gold tattoos. If I had to guess, I would say if we go back to this image, I think it's the same person. I think this is also Couladin because look at how high the shoulders are. I mean, this could be a hood, and we see this big, thick, it looks like a armor type thing on. So if you had like a cloak on over that, it would give you that elevated shoulders. So yeah, I think that was Couladin in the previous scene. Lanfear being Lanfear. This looks great. The Aiel look great. God, I can't wait to see this scene in full. This has to be Gawain or Galad. The way The way that there are the novices in the background clapping, like, "Yay!" Like, it's kind of giving Galad to me, but this is great. Yeah, this is exactly how this would go down. Oh, yeah, and then, of course, like, this is one of the guards. This looks like the royal guard for Andor. That could be a lion. I would have to zoom and enhance, but yeah, this looks like someone in red, like the royal one of the royal guards for Andor. So that I feel like that would probably make this 100% Gawain or Galad. Personally, like just how I envisioned him to look, he looks like a Gawain to me. I don't know. Land doing a sword form. So this could be the training montage, or I think even in the books they train with the Aiel a little bit. Heron blacksmithing, I would assume. Yeah, I can't wait to get back to the Two Rivers. It's gonna be great. So this has to be the Panarch's palace. Nothing else makes sense to me. The way that she is dressed definitely reminds me more of what the people were wearing in that scene with Leandrin in her full red outfit. And in Terabon, women wear dresses. So I feel like if she was trying to blend in somewhere, if she was in Terabon, if they are undercover in the Panarch's palace, she would have to have that dress on. I know in the books she wears a dress when she's in Tarvalon, but that's not our men. You know, like this isn't showmen. If she went back to the White Tower, I don't think that she would put a dress back on. This feels more of like I have to be incognito. We've got like a what is this called? Like an ibex. All of these little things, these little trinkets, I can't wait to get to this episode so I can really like pour over like the whole scenery. But it has skeletons of creatures. It definitely feels like the Panarch's palace to me. I couldn't figure out what the heck this was. I looked at it so long to the point where I was going cross-eyed and I was like, is that like a bottle of like spray paint on its side? Because that would be hilarious. But it looks like there's like webbing over it. I mean, it could just be like old and like spider web, but there's also these like ridges at the top where it kind of reminded me of like one of those olden timey like boom boxes. I don't know. I of course wanted hoping, praying that I would catch something in the background that points to future times. So some type of advanced, electronics or something from our own world. Robert Jordan tucked away like the Mercedes-Benz logo in the books. Our only image, only close-up of Matt. These windows, I'm not sure where that would be. It doesn't feel like Tarvalon, but it could be. I originally thought it's the fin. It has to be the fin because like it's just important and cope. I really want it to happen. But yeah, he's got the cuts on his neck. So I'm assuming that something just went down. If he is in Tarvalon, this could be post Water Yard brawl with him and Gawain and Galad, which would be great. I know some people said, oh, this could be, like the events after the fin where he's hung in the tree, like, and he wakes up hanging. But I'll be honest, I watch a lot of Law and Order. Those are not like ligature marks from a hanging. I rest my case. Mogideon and Leandrin are going to be fun. This is going to be fun. And again, the candlesticks. So earlier I had said maybe Leandrin is in the Panarch's palace and she's meeting Amathera, or she's meeting Mogideon. We know Mogideon is in the Panarch's palace in the books. That seems very likely. Okay, another reason why I think Moraine is going back to Tarvalon, her and Swan Sanche need to get their plans straight. And for everyone to disperse in this episode, I kind of feel like they need to be working together so that she can get Egwene to the waste and that Rand can get to the waste and everybody knows what's happening with one another, because it doesn't, to me, wouldn't make sense if it was like Moraine and Rand go to the Aiel Waste and Swan Sanche was like, oh yeah, Egwene, you're having these, moments in Tel'aran'rhiod. Go ahead and go to the waste. And then like Egwene just accidentally runs into Moraine and Rand. To me, that's doesn't like that's not great storytelling. I feel like they need to kind of get on the same playing field and figure out a plan, and it would make much more sense if it was like an actual meetup. I love that it's just like montage of kissing, kissing, kissing. It's yeah, I didn't even get excited, but it's Fail. I'm very, very excited for this character. I'm really curious how the show is going to cover her. She's a lot of fun. I do not know what on earth this would be. Now, let's look at the window here. This looks like a wise one to me. We're at 52. Does this look like a similar style of, I don't know if that's like lattice, like ironwork over a window, or if it's more like a curtain? 44. So look at it here and look at it here. Feels unclear to me, but maybe Rand really is. Maybe that's happening in the waste. Maybe it's a bubble of evil in the waste. I don't know. The look on her face though, this just her big eyes, the way she looks shocked, right? Absolutely shocked. I don't know what could be happening here, but the fact that she's in the trailer makes me feel like she's important. Could be one of the wise ones. This could be Amis. Could be like a Melindra. But if Matt's not going to be in the waste this season, I don't know why we would have that character. Curious. I don't know. Ooh, this shot of Egwene, that like resolute, fearsome, no BS look into the camera. Yeah, that love it. Rand gonna have a rough go this season. I think these two scenes are actually, I think they might be related. Rand screaming. I don't know if that's Rand playing his father. If this is the flashback within Ruidan. I don't know. You know, this is the death of his mother and the story of his birth. Leandrin is just a mess, and this is the type of battle that I want to see for the Black Aja attack. This is probably my favorite scene of the trailer. Marcus Rutherford, I'm dying to hear what he says about the Battle of Emmons Field. We've got some white cloaks in the background, lots of fire, people running, people fighting, Alana crying, and then this scene, which is absolutely unhinged, and I love it. Okay, for one, we have to talk about like this is like such a dope album cover. Like this is the album cover of all album covers. They've got like, look at what everyone's wearing, okay? I need a high resolution of Zoe of Nynaeve in this outfit. Egwene looks great. Rand he's way too happy about whatever is happening here. I'm not sure if that's Moraine or not. Probably. Just, like all of these montages have Lanfear taunting Moraine. So to me, that feels like this is more of that. Matt's wearing a dress, or a skirt, which I'm so here for it. Elayne looks incredible. Perrin, like I'm here for Goth Guy Perrin, Goth Guy Wolf Brother, and then Mogideon in the back with like her head tilted. Yeah, this feels like a Tel'aran'rhiod attack. Looking at the background, that is the ways. Some of these images almost look like trees though, but this is the ways for sure. The ground, that's the same set. And this last scene of Moraine being carried back, probably after she collapsed coming out of Ruidan. This is a beautiful, beautiful scene. The sunset, the everything, it's great. And I think too, we've seen some news articles coming out so far this, I think like late last night, today for me. There's a lot of talk about Rand having this question mark over his head of will he or won't he turn to the side of the shadow. And I think with Rand having that like question mark over his head of whether or not we can trust what he's doing and the decisions he's making, and whether or not he will be able to fulfill his destiny prophecy without, causing chaos and the destruction of the world. Having him carrying Moraine out like that and then kind of like lingering on that scene feels like it's like, yeah, like we're worried, but like don't worry. Like he's Rand, he's our sheep herder. He was raised to be different than Luther, and he was raised to be a good person. So I do like this theme of sacrifice this season. Of I see a lot of guilt too, with the flashbacks and Rand coming to terms with his past and the past of his ancestors and the past of the Aiel. But I think this is going to be a season of sacrifice for Moiraine, and it's kind of going to hinge on this idea of, was Moiraine right to make all of these sacrifices, and is she going to second guess that? And then, having him carrying her out of Ruidan feels like there's this kind of like that there to the viewers, like he's not gone, there's still like a really good person in there. So yeah, I don't know, I'm very excited. Great teaser, they gave us a lot. I still would have loved to see some new characters, or like some, I'm dying, I'm just chomping at the bit to see Elida. I'm an Elida girl. I love mess. So, but yeah, if you're still watching this, I will be doing a panel and that will come out later with some special guests. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. Please, if you would like to help boost the channel, please give this video a like and please subscribe to the channel. I have a very small channel. Some of my videos get incredible views. I think last season, something like 50,000, which is like insane for me, but it doesn't always translate to subscribers. And so like if you do keep seeing me pop up on your homepage, like go ahead and subscribe. Like there's a reason the algorithm is sending me to you. But it means a lot to me as well. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm really excited. So yeah, I'll see you back next time.